Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Rachelle. I'm so glad you guys are joining us today. It is so crazy that we are starting a new year. It is 2025, so for my first video of this year, I will be picking up my January TBR using my TBR prompt jar. I love doing these types of videos. I honestly think it's so fun and interesting to see what books I choose for myself based on these prompts. Last month in December, I actually chose my TBR the same way. And I was actually really successful in terms of finishing my TBR. So for this month and this video, I'm extra excited because I'm hopeful and I feel very motivated that I can finish the books I pick out for myself in January. I roughly read about 5 books a month, sometimes less, sometimes more. So I think 5 is a good average number. So in this video, I'm sticking with choosing out 5 books for myself to read this month. Let's get started with picking out my first prompt. So let's give this jar a good shake. And the first prompt is a Kindle Unlimited book. Okay, so this prompt doesn't really help me finish my physical TBR, and I basically use this TBR prompt jar to get through my physical TBR. So technically this prompt really shouldn't be in this jar, but I think we can make it work because I know for a fact that some of these books that are on my physical TBR right now are actually available on Kindle Unlimited as well. So we're gonna pick a book that's also available on Kindle Unlimited. I have my Kindle right here, so let's look at some of these books. Actually, there's a book I have in mind that I want to read in January right now. I have a feeling it's available on Kindle Unlimited, but I'm not sure yet, so I'm gonna double check that right now. Okay, yes, it is available on Kindle Unlimited. So the first book that's going on my January TBR is Forever Never by Lucy Score. This is a really thick book. It's 560 pages. And normally if this was a fantasy, I wouldn't consider it long, but this is a romance, and I don't usually read romances this long. I think at most I read romances that are like 400 pages or maybe 450 pages at most. So this being at 560 pages is quite intimidating for me. I guess my problem with longer romances is the fact that they usually always feel stretched out, and the pacing of them are usually really slow as well. And a lot of the times I find that the story really doesn't need to be that long. I usually feel like the story could have been told in less words and there could have been less repetition, and that's why I usually try to avoid long romances. But I think all books deserve a chance at least, because who knows, I might end up really liking this book. Sometimes the characters are just so likable and it just has me caring for them deeply and of course rooting for them. I actually haven't read a book by Lucy Score yet. I did read a couple chapters of Things We Never Got Over. I think that's the title. It's the first book in the Knock 'Em Out series, but I ended up DNFing that book because I just could not stand our main female character. She was just annoying me in a lot of ways, and one of them being her addiction to coffee. I think it's fine to be addicted to coffee, like I'm addicted to coffee, but I think what's not okay is if you make your entire personality centered around coffee, and that's what her character is. So that was the thing that made her character so unlikable in my opinion, and that just made me not want to finish the book, because I ultimately believe that in romances you really have to love your 2 main characters. So after DNFing that book, and that book being my first Lucy Score book, I kind of just did not want to touch any books by Lucy Score. You know that feeling when you pick up a book by an author and it's your first book by them, but you end up not loving your book? It just ends up making it harder for you to pick up another one of their books and giving it a try. That's what I was going through with Lucy Score. So I'm definitely a little nervous to start this book, but I feel like I should give another one of her books a try to see if I like it. This one is about Brick, and under his mile-wide chest beats a loyal heart with a few cracks in it. He's the steadfast, overprotective type, especially when it comes to one woman he can never have. It's a long, complicated history punctured by fights, friendship, family, and an attraction that strains his iron willpower. When Remy 4 returns to Mackinac, I hope I'm saying that right, Mackinac Island, in the dead of winter, Brick makes it his mission to find out what put the shadows in those green eyes, even if it means breaking down the walls he's built between them, even if it means falling for the one girl he'll never get over. Remy doesn't need broody, bearded Brick riding to her rescue again. Not when it will put them both in danger, costing them much more than their hearts. This book actually sounds really good, and I really hope that I will enjoy this book a lot. I also heard this book takes place in the winter, so January is definitely the perfect time to read this book. Let's pick out our second prompt. Any paperback book. So this prompt gives me so much freedom, so I'm really excited about this one. I think I'm gonna pick the last Lost Dragon of the East. This book is actually an arc I got from Simon & Schuster, and I've literally heard nothing about it, but it seems like a really good Chinese story. I honestly don't know what to expect from this book. I guess what I'm really hoping for is the possibility to learn more about my roots, because I am Chinese Canadian myself, and I feel like living in Canada, I've lost a lot of my culture just because the lifestyle is so different. Let me read you what this book is about. At the spry young age of 25, Sai has led a quiet life, keeping the family tea house up and running, even if that means ignoring the past due notices and taking care of his ailing mother. But he has a not-so-secret gift that he's parlayed into a side career. He was born with the ability to see red threads of fate between soulmates, which lends itself nicely to matchmaking. Sai has thus far become content not to follow his own thread, the only one he's ever seen that's gray and fraying. But Sai's ordinary existence is about to be turned upside down by a pair of shining dragon scales. When his mother's doctor sells them to him, claiming them as a miracle cure, Sai is pretty sure he's being scammed. When the medicine actually works and the terrifying ruthless emperor catches wind, Sai is thrust into a search for a dragon long thought extinct that will lead him into the throes of a brewing war and deep into foreign lands, facing down challenges both magical and mortal on an unexpected adventure. And for the very first time, as his own threads of fate begin to move, he may begin to solve the mystery of his fated one at the other end of the line. This book sounds really interesting, and I'm actually really hoping I like it. Let's pick out our next prompt. A book with an ugly cover, but you think the story will be great. Okay, I already know the perfect book for this prompt, and that book is The Manor of Dreams by Christina Lee. I definitely think this book can be seen as pretty, but in my opinion, it's a little freaky because this is actually a human face on a cover, and just the way the art is illustrated around it is just freaking me out. So I kind of would consider this an ugly cover, but I definitely think this book has a really great story because on the back of the book it says Mexican Gothic meets the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo in Christina Lee's haunting novel about the secrets that lie in wait in the crumbling mansion of a former Hollywood starlet and the intertwined fates of two families fighting to inherit it. Just mentioning the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo already has my attention because I absolutely love that book, so I'm really hoping this book does not disappoint. To read you the back of the book, it says Vivian is dead, the first Chinese actress to win an Oscar. The trailblazing rise to fame in the 80s only to disappear from the spotlight at the height of her career to live out the rest of her life as a recluse. Now her remaining family members are gathered for the reading of her will, and her daughters expect to inherit their childhood home, Vivian's grand, sprawling Southern California garden estate. But due to a last-minute change to the will, the house is passed on to another family instead, one that has suddenly returned after decades of estrangement. In hopes of staking their claim, both families move into the mansion. As Vivian's daughters race to piece together what happened in the last weeks of their mother's life, disturbing visions and bizarre behavior start to take hold of everyone in the house, forcing them to realize they are being haunted by something far more sinister and vengeful than their regrets. After so many years of silence, will the families finally confront the painful truth behind the house's origins and the last tragic summer they spent there? Or will they cling to their secrets until it's too late? This book sounds like a dark mystery thriller, but also it could be a literary fiction novel too. I don't really know what it is, and I probably won't know until I read it, but this book definitely has an interesting storyline, and I think I will enjoy it a lot. Plus, this book is another arc from Simon & Schuster. I think this book comes out in May 2025. So yeah, I'm excited to read this book, and then of course I will share with you guys my thoughts on this book. Let's pick out our fourth book, a book that is over 500 pages. There's a book that I really want to read that I know will fit under this prompt, but I don't have it on my TBR cart yet. I plan on buying this book soon. I plan on ordering online. So because this is my video and it's my rules, I'm gonna say that I'm allowed to pick that book and put it onto my January TBR. And that book is Fate of the Sun King. This is the third book in this series. The first book is Trial of the Sun Queen, and then the second book is Rule of the Aurora King. I actually picked this book out for my December TBR, and I did end up reading it, and I absolutely loved that book. The first book was like like I just wasn't sure if I wanted to continue reading the series because it just wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. But I decided to pick up the second book because I was like, why not? I have it. Let's give it a try. And I'm glad I decided to continue the series because the second book was so good. It was so much better than the first book. That second book definitely saved the series for me because now I'm invested enough to want to pick up the third book. I think it's available on Kindle Unlimited, but I want a physical copy of it, so I'm just gonna buy one. This one is a romantasy. It's enemies to lovers. There's so much tension. fiction. I am absolutely loving it because I love those types of romanticises. According to Goodreads, this book is 556 pages long, so it definitely fits under this prompt. Let's pick out our fifth and final book in our January TBR. A book you thrifted or got from a little free library. Ooh, okay. So we definitely have a few options here. For this prompt, we have Violetta, and this is a historical fiction novel. And then we also have Renegades, which is a sci-fi novel with a little bit of romance, I believe. I don't actually read much sci-fi novels. I bought Renegades for the purpose of giving the genre a try, but honestly, I don't know if I feel ready to read a sci-fi novel yet, so I don't think I want to pick this book. Plus, I really don't want to start another series because I'm in the middle of a lot of series right now, and I want to get through some of them before I start more. So I'm going to say no to Renegades for now, but that leaves us with Violetta. I honestly can't remember what this book is about, so let's read the back of the book together. Violetta comes into the world of a stormy day in 1920, the first girl in a family with 5 sons. From the start, her life is marked by extraordinary events. The ripples of the Great War are still being felt, even as the Spanish flu arrives on the shores of her South American homeland. Her family must say goodbye to their lifestyle and retreat to a wild and beautiful but remote part of the country. There she will come of age and her first suitor will come calling. Violetta's story will encompass devastating heartbreak and a passionate love, poetry and wealth, terrible loss and immense joy. Her life is shaped by some of the most important events of history: the fight for women's rights, the rise and fall of tyrants, and 2 destructive pandemics. This is actually a book that I did not expect myself to pick up in January, but I think that's the beauty of using my TBR prompt jar to pick up my reads, because it allows me to pick up books that I didn't expect myself to pick up at that time. I knew I was eventually going to pick up this book anyway, but I didn't know it was going to be this soon. This book definitely feels like it's a great and powerful story, and I don't know why, but I feel like when I pick up this book, I'm going to be greatly surprised. But I guess we will really only find out how I feel about this book when I actually get around to picking it up. But that is it for my January TBR. Let's go through all the books again one more time. We first have Forever Never by Lucy Score. Then we have The Manor of Dreams by Christina Lee. Then we have The Last Dragon of the East. We also have Violetta. And last but not least, we have Fate of the Sun King. That is all I have for you guys in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you've read any of these books and you want to share with me your thoughts on them, please let me know what you think in the comments down below. I would love to hear your opinions. And I guess with that, I will see you guys in my next video. But if you want to stay up to date with what I'm currently up to when I'm not making videos, definitely follow me on all my social media platforms. I will have all the links in my description box below. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!
Pull the key out the ignition. Run your mouth but I never listen. You hold me back, will never last. Keep talking all your shit. Wondering how all this started. You left me broken hearted. You flip my words, yeah, this love hurts. Keep talking all your shit.